to the first episode of the Last Week This Week podcast. My name's Ian Scott, and
I'm Zack Huber.
Yeah, we've been really good friends for like a decade plus now,
which is absolutely wild.
Yeah, and the two of us just love talking about anything nerd shit, really, and across movies, TV, and video games, and that's what we're going to be talking about here.
So I think we were discussing that the big news for this week has been, for actually a while now, has been DC.
Pretty much since James Gunn took over here in October.
Right, which we have thoughts about. I don't know how you necessarily feel about everything because we haven't talked. We've been saving it for the podcast, which also... we were supposed to record a week ago.
We were,
but I got really, really sick.
You know, probably not a bad thing. I was also getting over a cold, so it would have not sounded great for both of us.
No.
But you know, now we can talk about everything with updated news, with all the statements that have come out from Henry Cavill and Patty Jenkins and Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we should talk about the big Henry Cavill news that has kind of shocked the DC fandom here.
Shocked the world.
Kind of feels like it, right? I mean, Twitter has...
At least our world.
Right, and the Twitter world, for sure.
Yeah, and okay, well, I'm not really on Twitter.
Sure, I guess, but, that's where I am.
But maybe if you want to start the conversation about it.
So, basically what we found out is that Henry Cavill, after announcing his return to... the fans again back in October when, the Black Adam movie came out. He announced again that he is not actually returning due to the conversation he had with James Gunn and Peter Safran. I guess they haven't confirmed anything, but to me, a Henry Cavill, or I guess, I don't know how to actually say his name. Is it Cavill or Cavill?
I think it's Cavill.
Cavill? Okay, yeah. Henry Cavill. I think, to me, his departure signals like a reboot for the whole universe, right? At least...
Yeah, I mean...
That's what would make sense for me.
I think it wouldn't be, like, wrong to think that. I mean, there's no... James Gunn hasn't like necessarily said that there's going to be a reboot, and
right. I mean,
with all the stuff that we're going to talk about, like especially like stuff that I just heard today from you regarding Zachary Levi, it's interesting to see what they're going to say next year because I think it's like I feel like it's a reboot. And like everything signals that it would be. And it feels weird that it would be like there'd be things left over.
Like from everything that we're hearing is that Aquaman is done after Aquaman 2, and that maybe Jason Momoa will be playing Lobo.
Which I think would be awesome.
I don't really know anything about Lobo. So I think the pictures, he looks exactly alike.
Right, which is like, it's great fan casting. And he could play it for sure.
Like the biggest fan of Lobo I know. Like, I don't think I've heard of the character really until he mentioned him. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he'd like specifically mentioned him, but he would obviously be great, but like it's up to like the filmmakers to decide.
Right.
Like the thing that I think would be strange about him playing Lobo is if they made like a Lobo solo movie. I just wonder if like the general public would be a little confused.
I mean, you couldn't start off the universe with that movie.
No, I'm not saying you would start off the movie with like the universe with that movie, but like if he was like a side character maybe, but
yeah.
The only thing is like I would wonder if the general public would be like confused about having him
it would
as a another superhero in
Right.
us under the DC banner, and like everything's so convoluted at the moment that, you know.
I would say, unfortunately, DC might have to take somewhat of a Marvel approach, because I don't see a Lobo movie in the first 2 years of a new DC universe succeeding when like a Black Adam movie with all the marketing and the announcement of
It's
Henry
terrible
Cavill.
marketing though.
But
It was bad marketing.
do you think so?
What did you think?
Here's the
if
thing.
you weren't like, and we are superhero fans,
Right.
And even I was like, well, could you tell me what that movie was about if you just saw the trailer? Because I couldn't. All I knew was like,
He's not a superhero. That's
because he kills people.
right. That's kind of all we knew. I mean, and here's the thing, like with trailers for most things now, I watch like the first one and I don't really come back to it. Because I don't want to see too much footage before the movie comes out.
Right.
But I think pushing like Henry Cavill's back had to have gotten so many people interested in that movie.
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah.
I mean, at least that was like a half the reason I wanted to see it.
Yeah. It's really frustrating because that was when the news came out. I specifically remember on Jimmy Fallon, the big news was like him just basically coming out and saying like Superman's gonna be in this movie.
Right.
And like that was like, and I felt bad. I mean, I was gonna see the movie anyways, but I wasn't nearly as excited until it was basically like Henry Cavill's coming back as Superman, and then it felt like, oh, we're gonna get this Black Adam versus Superman movie, and it's like we're starting up in like, we're just like, we've been kind of in a weird spot, but now we're gonna just completely change, and like Dwayne's being like, it's gonna be the hierarchy of the
hierarchy of the DC universe has changed, right? And he was saying so many like big things like, "Hey, I'm the most powerful character on this planet, but there is still a more powerful like character in the universe, basically, right?" And his statements, he was marketing the hell out of that movie, and it's still technically like barely broke even or lost money, is what we're hearing. So that's why
apparently
I'm saying
he like
there's a lot of drama there.
But
yeah,
I mean, I don't personally think it's made money.
I think at best it broke even.
Yeah, at best.
And like that's what I'm saying is that even like a star power driven, movie with all these cameos in it couldn't attract audiences, and I don't see a Lobo movie like in the first 2 years doing anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Okay,
at all. Like I don't.
They have to start with the main six.
Actually,
right?
to be, it's because like I think I don't know how they're gonna reboot. We don't even know if they are gonna do like a hard reboot,
right?
But.
Yeah, I guess we should say...
The thing is, like, it's James Gunn figuring out the universe.
Yeah.
And if he has a good idea for a Lobo, which, like... It's... The only thing that's difficult is... When I think of James Gunn making a movie, I'm like, okay, like, I can see, like, how he could make it awesome. But he's not going to be directing every single DC movie. It has to come from different directors.
I mean, he might be writing a lot of them. I don't doubt that he loves to write movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely don't want to see him directing a bunch of, because it's not like Kevin Feige ever directed like any movies, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, he was like there writing and pitching ideas, which I think James Gunn should be doing. But yeah, I mean, he has a whole studio to run. I don't want to see that kind of stuff from him.
It's anyways.
Yeah, as much of a James Gunn fan I am, obviously. Right.
I think if approached, which I've heard that, I know we'll get onto like the Superman thing in a second, because we have been saying like, oh, we're going to talk about Superman, but like they talked with Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
About directing, and then there was like that picture of like Ben and Jason Momoa together, and then he was like Maestro, and he was like super excited. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean. And it clearly looked like Ben Affleck was dressed up as Bruce Wayne in that photo.
I was going to say,
ago.
are you talking about like a photo that was before all this James Gunn stuff?
It was way before.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about there.
But I don't know if it was exactly before the James Gunn stuff.
No, but I know the photo you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know that was taken when it was kind of announced that Michael Keaton was kind of out of the DC universe before he ever really got into it.
So sad.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see him in The Flash, but it basically, I guess they rerouted on Aquaman, and Michael Keaton was supposed to be in that, and now Ben Affleck is going to be like the Batman in that movie.
In The Flash?
No, in the Aquaman movie. But Ben Affleck is also going to be in the Flash movie as well.
Yes,
right,
I was going to say like. I'm pretty sure Michael Keaton shot like a ton of that.
Right. But yeah, I guess we can.
Do you really think they're gonna keep that Batman cameo in Aquaman?
Weirdly I do. I think because for some reason, like they had Michael Keaton's Batman in there, and then they're like, oh well, if he doesn't exist, we still need a Batman in our movie. It's not like they could have just. It's
very interesting to see like why they would need the Batman character in their movie. Well, I guess we'll find out.
I have no idea. Because all I know really about this sequel, at least from like the first movie, is that Black Manta's coming back, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the first movie. I think, if a full reboot is the case, I guess before we go on to that, we should discuss Superman here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, like a lot of DC fans, I am bummed that he is gone. I get this position James Gunn is in. I truly do. I think the DC universe, even though it has so many bright spots in it, is such a convoluted mess story-wise that I get nobody wanting to inherit that. And even if you have all these great castings, it's just easier to start over, especially when they want to like introduce a tied-in animation universe and TV show universe. All of them are together, I guess, in this new.
Star Wars tried to do that.
I mean, they're still doing it. It's all connected.
But they like changed it all. Like they took away things and were like, oh, that's not canon anymore. Like,
well, I mean, they took away like all the books at one point.
Yeah, but it's pretty monumental to like try to get all of that stuff under the same. So like, I feel like they should just start with the movies, which I think they're gonna.
Yeah. I mean, don't even think about animation at this point, even though we all want it. Just build a strong basis. I think, the other part there is that we're hearing from like a bunch of reports that Gal Gadot is out as Wonder Woman, and Patty Jenkins kind of confirmed that, right? Let me find the statement that she said. So basically, Patty Jenkins confirmed that, Wonder Woman 3 isn't happening, and that she is in fact still working on the Rogue Squadron movie that was announced, and that everyone thought was dead.
I mean, everyone thought I was dead, but I guess Lucasfilm never said that it was.
Yeah,
and a lot of people were like having issues with her like saying all of this stuff, but like people were saying that like she walked away from the movie, which she didn't, and so. Well,
here's the thing: none of that, at least from what I remember in the statement, is that she didn't deny that like she was asked to rewrite the script. She didn't deny that she said no to rewriting the script. I still think that those two things can be true there, and if that is the case, that I guess is a bummer that she didn't want to try and write a better script, because I do think there's problems with some of her writing.
Yeah, I didn't know that the first Wonder Woman movie, like all the creative decisions, obviously directing is a creative thing in its own, but I didn't. There goes my mic. I didn't know that like all the creative decisions with that movie were already made, and that Wonder Woman 84 was entirely like her.
Yeah,
and it's funny. I don't know why Wonder Woman 84 keeps getting brought up in like all the things the podcasts and stuff that I listen to regarding this stuff. Probably because Patty Jenkins in the news and people didn't get enough to say about it when it first came out, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those movies, like it feels like it's the Batman and Robin.
Well, it came out at like, height of the pandemic, and it was streaming only, and we were all just like, fuck this movie.
But the thing is, like, anybody who listens to this right now is gonna who has like an ounce of respect is gonna hate me.
Oh boy, okay.
Because
you're really gonna.
I didn't hate
for
that
this?
movie, and like notoriously for some unknown reason cried when when she had to say goodbye to Steve Trevor. I don't know what came over me, but that movie, I still, it had a lot of issues, even though I didn't hate it like everybody else did.
I think there's just so much that just doesn't even go into consideration when like thinking about like the greater DC universe in that movie. Like especially think of the plot of that, where we knew that for basically 100 years, Wonder Woman fell off the face of the earth, right?
Right.
And then sometime in the 80s, everyone gets their wish granted to them, and she's the one who stops it.
And also, just
doesn't she also speak to everybody in that movie?
Yes.
through Max Lord, right?
Yes,
right.
Which, we are getting off topic from Superman again, but
no. Well, I mean, we're
sure.
pulling off the topic, right.
But I mean, the whole idea of that. Did everybody get their mind wiped at the end? I can't remember. Like, you would think that everybody would remember that happened.
I think that everyone remembers that happened for sure.
That's just such an insane thing to let somebody. And I like the movie for the most. Like, there were things. I don't know. Like, I have to watch it again.
The movie?
I'd have to. It was in the height of COVID. Like, maybe I just really needed some. I don't know, but. Regardless, the fact that movie was made and nobody like thought about, because their whole thing was that they wanted a connected DC universe with continuity. That's a big thing that you feel like would be addressed, like how everybody's been saying, like, or at least people that I have listened to, like, have been saying, like, does anybody want to address the Eternals, the big fucking celestial
that came and
Arishem that came up, like it was, and somebody might say like, oh, they had a news article on the
you're talking
She-Hulk.
about the one that's a statue basically right now. Okay.
No.
Oh
no, the Arishem who like shows up.
Okay.
Above London,
right?
And they like just mentioned. I don't even know if they either mentioned Arishem. Not by name, or they mentioned Tiamat, the statue one, in the Indian Ocean, in a She-Hulk episode for like a brief second. But that's not what anybody wants. People, like, for me, like, getting off topic. But if you have these are things that if you have a connected universe, having a celestial in the sky, a huge being in the sky, would change your whole existence, especially if you're religious or anything. And like the population on Earth, like, but like that's a huge fucking thing in the sky. I don't know. Like,
but think about all the Marvel stuff that has happened. I mean, like, people have to be so desensitized in that universe.
But not as much crazy things happened pre-Endgame and Infinity War. Like, there was weird, crazy stuff that happened. Like, Thor was weird and an anomaly, and and you had like Civil War, but this was all stuff that was primarily based, like you did have the Battle of New York, fair enough. There were aliens coming through the
Sokovia,
sky.
you know.
Sure, like those were like big events, but nothing that I feel like would shake you to the like. They kind of one of the things about the holiday special that Guardians did was like when Drax doesn't turn off the cloaking device, that woman just starts hysterically crying / laughing, and that's exactly what would happen. Yeah. So I was like, that's great, and but they haven't addressed. It's just been wacky, and I've liked Phase 4, but it hasn't like I really wish that we knew what was going on in the world a bit more, because things are so like now there's a superhero law division. Sorry,
yeah,
we're on the MCU now.
I mean, we can talk about the MCU at some point.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm down to go there right now if you want.
No, we should really talk about like Henry Cavill and like I guess what I'll say is I was really excited to have Henry back.
Yes, absolutely,
because Man of Steel is one of my favorite superhero movies. Actually, movies in general. I love that movie. We just saw Avatar 2 in IMAX 3D last night, and I was telling our friend Manny that the last time that I saw an IMAX 3D movie
was Man of Steel.
And that was one of the best movie experiences I ever had, and that was with my dad. And I like took my like I had already seen it. I was like, I want to see it again, because that score was awesome and the whole movie was awesome. And I was really into what Zack Snyder was creating.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I know people have it. I know we would argue about the ending a little bit, but
yeah, I mean, the ending's not bad to that movie.
Yeah, but it was such a great movie. And also, I will say it's weird that there's a lot of people in the DC fandom that are like mad that Henry's gone. But then like, where were you with Man of Steel? Because that was a divisive movie.
Sure, yeah, Man of Steel didn't get the praise that like a lot of superhero movies do, you know? I mean,
like,
I think
they were mad. They were like, why would he kill Zod? And then, and it's like people are like getting, and there's like, oh, it's a bleak Superman. But now I'm just saying it's just a weird nitpick that I have with people that like,
maybe I think it's just that.
Why are you here now?
He's just such a great casting that like, I think people overlook, you know, maybe they're not liking of Man of Steel, you know? But
yeah,
I think, you know, besides him being gone, I think it is potentially, you know, this might piss some people off. It's potentially the right move.
I think it's definitely the right move. Like because like you can't. This universe
is a mess.
Yeah. And like James Gunn's in charge of a whole new universe,
right? And
he has to answer to a CEO of a company, and he has to like answer to like he has to make money.
Yeah,
and there's not as many people wanting to go to see the DC movies. That's just a fact.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah,
like especially with what you were talking about with Black Adam. Yeah. And it would be, I feel like everybody wants, like it's that adage, like get cake, like have your cake and eat it too. Mm-hmm. It's like everybody wants to have this one thing that works,
right?
But everything else doesn't work. And as long as you have it, it's gonna be. Now I'll be really mad if they
don't fully reboot. Is that what you're saying?
Not if they like keep some stuff. Because I'm be like,
yes, because then you're still acknowledging some stuff from a past universe. You know. Also,
I'd really like to know like his wife Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer Holland.
Like she stars in that piece, and I don't know if that's like her biggest role, but like that's definitely what got her like on my attention.
It's what got everyone to know her. Yeah, for sure.
And
Well, I guess
how does that conversation go? Because if he's cutting Peacemaker, it'd be like,
then she's gone too.
I mean, she's probably gonna get. Maybe she'd get a different role.
Well,
but
I'll say this: I think we should discuss what Zachary Levi said on Twitter. That kind of makes me not think that we're getting a full reboot. You know.
Before that, there's a lot of people who are really mad at James Gunn. And I get you're allowed to be mad, but all these decisions about having Henry come back and announce that he's back in the DC universe was made before James Gunn took over, and now he is in charge and has to make hard decisions.
Right.
And people who are like targeting James, he knows how tough things were going to be. Like I think he just put out and announced like a thing on Twitter or whatever. He's like, he knew it was going to be rough, but like he's literally like made three great superhero movies with
3 great superhero movies and a great superhero show. I mean,
arguably he has one of my favorite shows I've ever seen.
I think he has like probably a top 5 or top 3 superhero like track record for movies, you know, like he's one of the best out there to direct them. He does have his own specific style. That's very fair for people to like be worried about him writing a Superman movie, you know?
Right. But I think he could do it.
I think so too. I don't doubt that the man, you know, can write a movie that is more serious or I mean, obviously it has to be more serious than like the Suicide Squad or Peacemaker. But I have full faith in him. Honestly, he hasn't put in anything that I'm not a fan of.
It's just I don't know if people get like different information from if they get information from places that are telling them one thing and they believe it, or like they just have a confirmation bias. But I think it's unfair to put that particular thing on James Gunn. If you want to get mad at him about restarting the whole, I don't know, because I feel like people are particularly mad that he was announced and now he's gone. Because if you want to get mad at him for like other things that he's maybe like taking away or changing, like that's up to you.
Right,
I think,
but people are more mad than that because there's so many like fire James Gunn hashtags, you know, going around. You know,
and there was like a fake story that like DC was thinking, or like DC was like thinking of like firing him, and it's like DC.
No way.
He is the head.
He's
CEO
the head of DC. Right.
You know, the only person who's above him is David Zaslav for Warner Brothers Discovery, and they're not going to fire him. He hasn't even been able to do anything yet. Like,
right. At least let him announce what his 5-10 year plan is for DC in the new year. And if they absolutely hate that, then I guess they could, you know, do whatever they want at that point.
But they're still not like,
they're still, obviously they won't.
They're going to announce it and they're going to do it because people are going to be mad either way.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that Zaslav, I think, wants to get, you know, the profit rolling as soon as possible because he's been losing a lot of money with Warner Brothers so far, and it's to get it in the right direction.
Yes,
but I mean, it hasn't been an easy going yet. But I think if this full reboot is what's happening, I think it's going to be for the best for them for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they just need to start over. They're in such a great position too. They're gonna have Shazam come out. They're gonna have Flash, and then they're gonna have Aquaman, and that's pretty much
and Blue Beetle,
which is interesting because depending on how that movie is connected to things or not connected, it's possible that you could keep that if it did really well.
Now, that's what I've heard like somebody say, you know, in a rumor about Zachary Levi's Shazam is that the first movie is like so unconnected to the DC universe that it could technically work in another universe.
Because you're talking about Shazam?
Like the first Shazam. And I don't know how the second Shazam is going to go, but like all we get really from that movie is that, like, you know, Batman exists with his Batarang and a faceless Superman walks in. So it could be,
though that's very much the Man of Steel.
Right, it's the same outfit. Right? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so I'll say real quick what Zachary Levi said on Twitter to a fan. Basically, this fan was saying they didn't want it to be true that he was going to be, out of the DC universe. And he said, "Ooh, I really wouldn't go believing everything you see in the internet. I am Gucci Ash. We are all Gucci." And that's a very surprising statement. Considering it seems like the main, like all the Justice League is out. It seems like that's the case.
Yeah.
And to keep Shazam, it's not a bad idea. It's just, I think it's going to rub people the wrong way when you keep some and lose other amazing castings.
I think you would have nothing short of like a virtual riot.
Sure.
If you kept Shazam and you got rid of, I understand I don't really, I guess they could keep Shazam, but like, to be honest, I like the Shazam movie. Like, I like Shazam.
Yeah, I think it's an okay movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me it's better than okay, but but regardless, his Shazam though, first of all, and I like Shazam, could never go up against Black Adam.
Ooh, okay. Speaking of Black Adam with Shazam, I mean, I'm assuming you heard about Dwayne Johnson reportedly not wanting to do a cameo for Shazam 2.
Yes, I've heard that maybe perhaps The Rock is not a fan of the Shazam movies.
I don't know if this is true, but I want to say the first like Black Adam comic came out in 2007, when like he was, I guess, first announced for the role.
The first Black Adam comic,
right? But I mean, he was in all the Shazam, like a lot of Shazam comics, but he didn't get his own, like, you know what I'm saying?
I see.
Right. To me, if that's true, it's interesting. You would think, he says he's a huge fan of Black Adam. He had to have read Shazam comics for that to be the case. I don't know where he stopped loving the character of Shazam so much that I guess
you think it's the character of Shazam that, like, the character and not the Zachary Levi movies, because I was under the impression that he did not like the Zachary Levi movies.
That could be the case, but to me, he still used a lot of the elements. I mean, like the exact elements that gave Shazam his powers that, in the Black Adam movie. Like, he made it very connected to the Shazam movie.
Right. So what is it that is going on with Dwayne that...
Wait, what?
Like, what's going on? Like, why would it be the character as opposed to like the movies? Because I thought he was under the impression that like those Shazam movies were not his jam.
To me, it almost seems like Black Adam was more of a like superhero vessel for him rather than like, oh, I'm a big fan of this character, let me do it like really faithfully. Because he immediately went to, I want to fight the most powerful person in this universe.
Yeah.
And if he's teasing that, he clearly just doesn't want anything to do with Shazam.
No, no, he doesn't.
Which is a bummer.
Like, the thing is, like, and he was saying, like, I'm doing, like, you give the fans what they want. Mm-hmm. Well, like, there's a good portion of us that would want to see Shazam versus Black Adam first before we would see him fight Superman.
Yeah, I mean,
but regardless, I think we were all extremely excited.
I was even excited to see even a Black Adam versus a Superman. Like that was a cool.
That's what I mean.
Right.
Like, at the prospect of having the two of them go up.
Now, what what Dwayne Johnson was saying was that, I know at the time, is that he wanted it to be like a multi-movie, arc between them, and that they would fight like multiple movies from now. And I was like, I don't want it dragged on that much, but like, I do want to see you two fight. I think that would be a very cool thing for the universe. But I am okay with more Black Adam movies not happening.
Which I think just pretty much got announced. Like more Black Adam.
With his statement, I don't know if you read it. I did send it to you.
Skimmed a little bit before we started.
Basically, he confirmed that, Black Adam won't be in like the first phase of DC Universe. And, thanked the fans and, kind of gave support to DC Universe and James Gunn on his way out.
Which, from what I read, like, he was really respectful.
Yeah, he was.
He got to do it.
Yeah,
he got to do the movie.
After 15 years, he finally put it out, and it wasn't bad.
He was a pretty good Black Adam.
Yeah,
there was more rockisms than I would have preferred, but
I'll say
there was some pretty awesome shit that happened.
He delivered on the action. I think
the action was amazing.
I think the Justice Society delivered in that movie for me.
Yeah, they all surprisingly, besides his mask being like still kind of goofy.
Whose mask?
A Hawkman.
Oh, okay.
He was a lot cooler, like, because I always thought Hawkman was cool, but he was like. Though I do have question, like he's rich. Is he rich?
He's like Professor X in this universe.
Yeah,
he had the whole jet flying out of the basketball court or whatever.
I mean, it was dope.
Yeah,
but I want them to make like, though I haven't bought any, but they're nice to look at. Like I would really like to see like that a Dr. Fate or a Hawkman like hot toy like. Now, 6-inch figure, because they made one for Dwayne for Black Adam, but I think, but it looks to me it looks a little weird. Like the face sculpt looks a little weird.
Interesting,
but
yeah, Pierce Brosnan killed it in that role.
Yeah, it was so good.
But I don't know if you saw or heard, but I think what we are now missing out on with this reboot of a universe, at the end of Black Adam, there was supposed to be a scene where basically the helmet goes. Or I think to like basically find somebody else to be its user.
Right.
So we were gonna get more Dr. Fate. It wasn't Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate, but we were gonna get more of it. So I think that's a bummer to be like losing that. I hope the character comes back in the new universe here, but probably not for a while.
Yeah, I have thoughts about where they might be taking the universe. Like I saw today that a fan was like, do you think that you would use like DC Justice League Unlimited and Young Justice as like inspirations for the universe moving forward? And all James Gunn said was definitely.
Okay. That's cool.
But it was like a question posed, and then all the headlines ran James Gunn using Justice League Unlimited as inspiration. Right. And it was like,
no, he said,
maybe,
would you? Right.
But that is actually where I thought it would go, which would be a more lighthearted, fun.
I mean, that's very on track with what James Gunn likes to write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it should be the lineup for Justice League. Don't want Cyborg in there anymore.
No, I think he's fully out. I mean, I don't know if you saw that picture that was leaked of like the new DC Studios logo.
I don't think so.
But basically, it had the DC Studios logo in the middle, and then only 6 of characters. So it was just Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, and Aquaman. So no Martian Manhunter or Cyborg.
I do feel like James Gunn would be a good person to bring Martian Manhunter in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even for like you know, like to do like that first Superman movie, 2 Last Sons. Superman Last Sons. Just I don't know. But
well, here's the thing. That would be interesting because Zack Snyder's...
fuck. He's like my favorite Green Lantern from the animated series. It's Jon Stewart.
Has to be, right?
I want to say it's Jon Stewart, but then I think of
that sounds right. I was going to say Jon Stewart.
The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. But
let me look it up real quick. But you keep going.
But that's the Justice League that I would want, is because I always felt like Cyborg was like, it's cool that he got into the Justice League, but like, I don't know. I guess it's just that I always saw him with Teen Titans. That Jon Stewart. Good. And also, like, I want Jon Stewart to be Green Lantern because that's the Green Lantern that I grew up with. And I know other people grew up with Hal Jordan.
I did, yeah.
But I think, I don't know, something about Hal Jordan, I don't like him.
Interesting.
Jon Stewart's like way cooler.
Here's the thing. When I started reading the Flash comics, I remember that you were way more of a fan of Wally West than Barry Allen.
And I think that's because because Wally was on the Justice League Unlimited, and
that's something I didn't grow up with. Like I didn't watch really any of those animated movies or shows from DC. It was just not something I was really aware of. I don't know why that was.
So Ben Affleck I should say James Gunn and Peter Safran met with Ben Affleck, and they talked about they want him to direct, and he's super down to direct. What would be the movie? Because I have an idea, but what would...
Do you think it would be cruel for him to like be given a Batman movie?
It'd be cruel?
Like, do you think that would be like? Do you think that would piss him off?
No, I think that's the thing. He wrote a Batman script, and he was going to direct a Batman movie.
Yeah,
where he wasn't Batman.
Yeah,
originally,
I remember. Yeah, I mean, I was super down for him to star, direct, and write his own Batman movie.
But he was going to like not even be be Batman, and he had a script.
Well, I do remember like it was originally like he was gonna like write, direct, and star, and then he dropped out of directing that movie, and he was just gonna star in it, and then he fully dropped out. But I could be wrong on that order of events.
Yeah, it has been a while, so I could also be wrong, but I think if it's not... So I would think if it's not Batman, if it's that Batman Deathstroke script and it still works, or they do a little rewrite, that'd be great. Yeah. And I would think that. But if it's not that, I feel like it would be like a grounded... Like not grounded as in like... Most of his movies are within like... urban environments, shall you say, like city environments. So I feel like it would be a character like a Green Arrow, or you could do a Constantine in a way, I guess, if you wanted to. I'm trying to, I don't have a lot of them off the top of my head, but that's what I would imagine. But I feel the only thing I can think of is Batman. But it could be something else. I
mean, I know Keanu Reeves has talked about recently a Constantine 2 is maybe happening, which I love that first movie. I don't know if that would be what they want him to direct, because, that's not really going to tie into the DC universe, I would assume.
Yeah. Or maybe... It's sorry.
you add Keanu Reeves Constantine? Is that what you're saying? No. Okay.
Like maybe
that's the first movie in the universe.
That it will make money though with the Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, for sure. Anything with him makes money.
But I think or it's a one-off sort of thing.
Like he just directs one movie and he's done.
No, like Elseworlds, like the Batman sort of like. It's not in the timeline, because I think they're going to keep doing those.
Oh, I don't think they're going to keep doing those, to be honest. I mean,
I think they've made all of the ones that they've done so far have made a shit ton of money.
I agree with you.
Are very successful.
But it was working. It was working for the old DC universe because no one wanted to see movies in that universe. I think with this new direction where they want a mega universe with everything connecting, you're gonna have Matt Reeves' Batman universe. I think the Joker 2 may be the last of those movies, and I think that's it for outside of DC. Everything is going to be connected. I think.
really hope not. I really want them to continue doing the outside of the connected universe movies.
I mean, I want them to keep making more Matt Reeves Batman stuff, because that's easily a top 3 film of this year. And easily,
it's my number 2.
Easily a top 3 superhero film for me in general. Like I think it's almost a perfect superhero film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's, the only reason you can't get rid of that universe, because it's so good.
Speaking of not being able to get rid of universes because they're so good, Avatar, it's never going to go away. It's going to be with the in pop culture for probably the next 30 years.
I wouldn't say it's because it's so good, though. Like, I think they're obviously... Each one that's going to come out is going to be like, wow, that was the most beautiful movie I've ever seen. But both times I have seen an Avatar movie, it's like, oh, that was kind of nice. It was. They don't really do a whole lot for me. Like, I really did enjoy this one. For its like family development plot and its character development, but that was really like almost all of what the movie was. And there wasn't like a ton of story there. And the story that was there, like even you said, it was very like, wow, this is like a 90s action movie. It's like,
yeah,
there's, the plot is just kind of like, oh yeah, I can see what, what's happening. What's going to unravel.
It was done really. The thing is that even though a lot of the plot beats, like, I don't know if we should go into spoilers. Like, should we go into spoilers?
We can talk about our general, opinion of it, and then, we'll just, we'll discuss spoilers and announce that we are saying spoilers, like in a few minutes or so.
Yeah. So, even though like everything was real, like it was a very simple movie. In a lot of ways, like it's not anything that you haven't seen before.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
It was done really well.
It was,
and I have my frustrations with certain things that he hinted at, that there didn't feel like there was resolution. But after also thinking about it, like,
there's 3 more movies to come.
There's there might have been things that you were just supposed to like ponder, and maybe like it wasn't supposed to be spelled out and you were to infer. But there's also no reason to think that there won't be like an answer in the future.
Sure.
But there was also things that were like said that I thought they would go more into, but it felt like it was just one of those things that was just, I felt it was a good thing to put in, but like I would have wished that there was more like context around it, which I guess we can go into later. But,
yeah,
but it was done really well, and I think the action was incredible.
I think the thing that is exciting about the Avatar universe is that this universe is like super planned out. Like, we already know from a producer who said that all the scripts are done. Like, all Avatar 1 through 5 is like completely written.
Yeah.
And that Avatar 3 is basically done at this point.
Which is great.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad he's actually like knocking these out, and that we don't have to wait a decade in between each one.
Right.
But
because we'll probably be on our deathbeds
if that was the
like
case.
He won't even be around.
Yeah, what's funny? I heard him say that
unless he takes that anti-aging whale serum.
Yeah, but I heard him say that I think he might have even plans for an Avatar universe outside of like Avatar 1 through 5, and he's like, obviously I would not be around to direct anymore, so that would have to be like I train a protege. And I was like,
you better get on it right now.
Yeah, get on it. Yeah, absolutely. If I would say get on it if the universe gets better, because I would say it's a pretty slow and maybe not like super fulfilling start so far for the first two movies.
Though I will say that like these movies are about two things, which are
family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Dom. Family and preservation of the earth. And I think that it doesn't. I think there's things that you and I want from a science fiction perspective. And I feel like we want things that are a bit like we want to know what's going on. And there are things that like I think that there's like Gaia theory going on, which is that Iowa is alive. They haven't said it, but it seems to point out that whole entire planet is probably a being. It's
funny when they brought up Iowa, I was like, what the hell is that? It had been so long since I like knew even but like it clicked a while.
What the hell is that?
I was like, what? Like, how are you like? What is Iowa that you're connecting with? Because she's like Kiri, the character in the movie. Not a big spoiler, but like at one point she said she felt Iowa or something. Yeah, and I was like, I don't know who that is, but good for you. You know, like.
But like though we are used to like science fiction, bigger ideas, big things happening. There is something like, because this movie's gonna make money.
Yeah, I mean, it already made $500 million plus in the opening weekend.
Okay, yeah, so like it's
on track to make billions, or at least $1 billion.
Yeah. At least $1 billion.
Right.
But there is something that I think because like I try to watch a wide variety of movies, and there is something to be said about a movie that is about a family and that is about these more simpler ideas and can teach us a little bit. But that's also the thing that I would argue with other people that have an issue with like stuff with how simple it is like, have you seen a James Cameron movie? Because they're all just Aliens is just two moms fighting at the end.
Did he direct both of the first Alien movies?
No.
Okay, was he just producer or did he direct just the second one?
He directed just the second one.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
What is it? Titanic is just a love story.
That is like one of the only James Cameron movies I haven't seen.
Never seen Titanic?
Never seen it, yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to have questions about what your first boobs were, because I'm very stereotypical that those are the first. I don't know. That's like always comes up with Titanic. It's like Kate Winslet. But that is, I was like, I watched, my family had the 2 VHS. Like it was so long that it had been 2 VHSs.
Wow.
And I was like, I heard there was boobs, and I had never seen boobs before. And so I took the first VHS and I watched the whole thing. No boobs. And I was like,
no way, bro. I got to put in the second VHS.
But at that point, it didn't even matter. I was like, oh, this is a really good movie.
Oh, nice. Okay. So it was worth it in the end.
Yeah. But anyways, and also they really did at least made me feel, and I feel environmentally conscious. I could be better. But it really did make me feel like
the second Avatar, is that what you're saying, or Titanic?
Both.
Oh, okay.
But like especially with the second one, like those were the ideas that were being put forward, and
sure.
Granted, you could also have those ideas and have a bit of a more complex story, perhaps. But I think it was like,
I think that's the thing for me, is that I absolutely don't mind a simple story, because some of my favorite things in anime and a lot of shows is just a simple slice of life where characters get to develop and have relationships. But for a 3-hour and 12-minute movie, I don't think it was complex enough to deserve that runtime. Like the story was simple enough that you can cut out some of the developing moments and you would have the same story. There was a lot of they drove home plot points for sure, and it didn't feel over pushed. It was just like, this is a 3-hour 12-minute movie.
There was definitely I liked it. I gave it like 4 stars on my Letterboxd.
Oh wow, okay.
Though I am slightly leaning maybe towards 3.5.
I think I would probably go 3.5.
But it was a good movie, and I think everybody should go see it, especially in IMAX 3D, because it was visually.
It was almost like
great.
A lot of the time the people looked so real, like the Na'vi people looked so real, and it was almost like I was in the scene. Like they were just like right in front of me. It was the 3D was. I mean, I haven't experienced 3D like that in a while. Not that I wanted to experience 3D again, but it was a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind IMAX 3D.
Mm-hmm. It's just I have to put glasses over top of my glasses.
I know. That's what I was like.
Right.
Like when I was going with you. I was like, I don't know how he's gonna do it, because I went to go see. There was only a 3D version of Wakanda Forever that I went to go see down in Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
And then
how was that? I feel like that movie doesn't need to be in 3D.
First of all, the theaters in Richmond,
not good.
Not great.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
Okay.
But it I definitely would have preferred without the 3D.
Yeah, it's a very serious movie, so it's like I don't need to.
Well, so was Man of Steel, but it was done really well. Like the IMAX 3D was done really well.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like, and I think that movie was. I don't know if Wakanda Forever was shot for IMAX. It might have been, but I know Man of Steel was shot for IMAX, so it made sense like to do that.
I think we can probably talk about spoilers now if you'd like.
Okay, yeah, we can talk about spoilers.
But yeah, here in 5 seconds we will be talking about spoilers. And okay, that was your chance. So I think my 2 favorite characters that they focused on, I wasn't expecting as heavy of a focus on the kids. There's a clear like time jump that takes place at the beginning of the movie, multiple time jumps really that kind of show what they've been up to in the last decade. And there's a lot of new characters that are introduced that really take like the center stage of this movie. The
kids.
Yeah, the kids, right. I mean, I don't remember exactly what the second son's name was.
Yeah.
Right, but yeah, I mean, yeah,
Tunak, I don't know.
Something. But yeah, I mean, he's easily, to me, looked at as the main character of this movie. He has, a massive like redemption arc. And I think it's done really well. It might be the strongest part of the entire movie. My other favorite character is probably Kiri. I know you weren't a huge fan of the performance that was laid out there by Sigourney
Weaver.
Weaver.
Specifically the performance.
Right. I think it threw me off a bit at first, but to me, it's not like she acted like a normal teen, but like I felt
she wasn't
right because she's played by Sigourney Weaver. But I do think she did come off as a teen. Like she felt young. She felt like she was naive to a lot of things, and her voice didn't like after the first 10 minutes. It didn't really sound like Sigourney Weaver to me anymore. It was a pretty good voice acting performance, at least to me, and it felt like she was the child of of Grace, the character of Sigourney Weaver played in the first movie.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that aspect of it. And the movie hints at a lot of weird things about her, and, you know, none of them are ever explained in this movie. It's just like, oh yeah, she can really breathe underwater and control, you know, the environment in the water at some points, and she's going to have this like vision stroke, and we're not going to explain why really she had that.
Right.
Yeah.
That was another thing. Thank you for bringing that up. That was extremely frustrating. Like,
they never even told her to not do it again. They didn't even have that scene, you know? It was just like, well, that's that.
I think it seems like she's a virgin child of some sort.
Right, like the planet maybe had her with, you know,
it definitely
Grace's
seems like
avatar.
She's probably some like Christ-like figure in a way. Like she's, I don't know, like something, she's obviously like, there's going to be she's going to be like a very huge central figure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, first of all, I know you didn't have issues, but she seemed like she was a late 20, 30-some-year-old.
Really?
Like, she just really, what a strange teenager to
I will say,
which, like, it's not her fault. She's like she's a grown-ass woman. It's very hard to do that.
She even mentioned that it was difficult for her to be a teenager, like to act as that. So
I don't necessarily blame her. I just
props to her for even, you know, doing that.
I think the decision. I just think the decision was very weird to. Have her do it in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm all for it. I guess I'm more receptive to it than you are.
It just was like, I could really tell, like, I just really could tell, like, that you really don't seem like a teenager. And then I don't have an issue with the character of Spider.
Yeah, I knew we were going to go
the character.
Uh-huh.
And I know there's been some people who really liked the performance. Something about it was really weird to me. I don't know what it is.
I think
it's just it just really like was really off-putting. I don't know.
I don't know. I really liked it. I like the character of Spider. I think he's very interesting. I think maybe it's, you know, the receptiveness to his dad. I think maybe that's what like throws some people off. Like there were some scenes where, you know, like when his dad, you know, goes to, I guess, take control of one of the Na'vi birds. You know, he kind of like, he kind of like respects his dad for doing that, gives it a smile.
Which I feel like is...
It's interesting for him to have that kind of reaction, considering it makes he knows who his dad was. You know, like he doesn't like his dad. He doesn't even go by Miles. So,
but at the same time, like he's grown up his entire life without his dad, and now his dad is there. Here.
Yeah.
And his dad is partaking in
Na'vi culture, right? That
Na'vi
he likes.
Culture.
Yeah.
So like none of that was actually like
okay. So that wasn't it for you?
No.
Okay.
It's just I don't know. It's something about him that it's very strange.
Yeah.
It's very. I wish I could have more, but it's just like it was a strange performance at times.
Yeah.
That's it. Really.
Yeah. I mean, you're not the only person with this complaint about Spider for sure, but yeah, I think more of a complaint for me was seeing the same villain come back for this movie. I kind of hoped that James Cameron saw his mistake with the first one by having such a one-note evil like character as your villain. But yeah, he brought back the exact same guy. Basically, you know, the Na'vi, or you know, what was it? Basically, as a backup plan for his death, he had his memories implanted in a Na'vi avatar.
Which, do you think that that's a bit like antithetical to his character, that he would even want to be backed up into a Na'vi?
I don't know. It almost felt,
because I was really like, how are they going to bring
yeah.
Stephen Lang back? And it's like, oh well, he's a Na'vi.
Yeah.
Which I guess you saw that in the trailer, but
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, I didn't even know that he was going to be back. I was just hoping that it was a new villain.
like a rogue Na'vi
I guess
rebel.
I was
thing.
expecting more of a story like the first one, where it was a fight to get the Sky People off the island or off the planet again. And it ended up being a very small focused story based solely around, Jake and his family, really. It was, you had the water people as well that were there.
Yeah.
But it was, the villain was only focused on him. It wasn't like, oh, we got to get the unobtainium and we got to
Great name.
take over this planet. It was just like, hey, we got to kill this one dude. And I was like, okay, yeah.
I appreciate how small and contained it was, but it was very odd that, because do you think that back in the forest, the forest tribe, that they're still probably fighting?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, and this is the thing that I was talking with you guys last night about is Stephen Lang's character is a government, he is a Marine,
yes.
right? Okay,
I think so, right?
He's a Marine. Anyways, he's been contracted. His body that is formed as a backup, that costs money.
Sure.
And they're just gonna let him go on this revenge spree. The Eddie Falco, Carmela Soprano, which
was the leading general on the planet for some reason.
Which honestly, I believe she was.
It seemed like it, right?
She was kicking ass in when she was training, and she could boss people. I believe her. But
sure, it was a weird choice, but yeah,
it was very interesting.
It's a very interesting choice. Yeah.
She also didn't. She thought it came out. She thought the movie came out.
Yeah, that's a wild thing. That a lot of the kids now that we see in that movie, they're a good bit older than when they filmed it. I think Spider, if you look at him now, is he's at least 5 years older than he was in that movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they justify letting him. What is the goal? What are you going to accomplish by killing Jake Sully and his fam, or at least just him? What is the goal? He's left. He's not even in charge of the Na'vi force, freedom fighters, whatever you want to say.
He's literally just hiding. He just wants to be with his family. He's not doing anything to you. Yeah, he did, destroy your military and get you off the planet in the past, but that shouldn't be your main priority if you are getting attacked by the Na'vi force people constantly.
They're
a way bigger threat.
It's a nitpick, but
I think it's a pretty. I don't know. I think it's a pretty good complaint.
It leads to a good story, a fun, a good story, and I appreciate. It's just it seems like such a weird thing. Unless there was the government specific, and I don't know, I guess I'd have to watch the movie again, but unless there was a thing that was you are to get Jake Sully to pay for crimes or something of that nature. But then again,
it's a full find and kill situation. It's not either arresting him and he's getting brought back for questioning and imprisonment. It's just hey, this guy needs to die. Which
and is it because he needs to die because he led? Or he was an insurgent,
or is it because he was responsible for the death of Colonel Miles, whatever his name is?
Right.
Yeah.
So somebody else.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can know the answer to this eventually, because I'm not going to see it in theaters, and I'll watch it when it comes out again on like streaming or something. But
yeah, I mean,
it's
long, so I wouldn't want to go back to the theater right now either for it.
but that isn't it weird to say like it's long, but you watched the Batman multiple times in the theater.
Because it was...
And it's not as long, but it's
not.
very close to.
It's like 14 minutes less, I think. Or like something like that. But to me...
So why do you think that it... And I mean,
it's pretty obvious to me why that is. Because like, I've been saying this is not a very complex story. This is a pretty like, I'm just going to protect my people and my family by, laying low. And then there's a redemption story with his son. And it's very self-contained. With the Batman, there's a big mystery involved that, I think you could say maybe it doesn't need all of its runtime for the Batman, but it uses the hell out of it, and I feel like so many scenes are vital for that movie, and it's exciting almost like the whole time for me. I think I was very happy to go watch it as many times as I wanted to in the theaters. This one I'm just like, this was a pretty decent movie, and I don't think I need to see it again. I think I get it. I've seen the character development angle of a story before, and it's a good angle to take. But I don't think there's enough there for me to be like, I want to watch that like right now again.
Mm-hmm.
But
do you have any finishing spoiler thoughts or?
I think that's probably it. There isn't too much more about the movie that I'm like, I don't like that. But yeah, I mean, what about for you?
No, I mean, I think it was a really good. I like one of the spoiler things that I'll say that was like that I wish they went into more. Besides Kiri's character really like having a lot of loose ends, is so they have these whale hunters who I don't mind that a lot of the villains are like one note. Mm-hmm. And this whale captain, like whale hunter captain, is like he's a great like he's a one note villain.
He's so cheesy too,
but I love it. But so they violently kill.
Oh my gosh.
A whale, like, and if that scene doesn't make you like want to stop having any whale products in your life, I don't know what will. But so they like kill this whale just to obtain this like liquid secretion of some sort that's located at the top of its skull.
Oh, like at the top of its mouth.
Okay, the roof of its mouth.
Yeah.
And it just stops people from aging, which I feel like is a commentary maybe on like makeup products or some sort of like Botox injection or some maybe there's a product in that people use that stops aging that is used from animals or something.
Right.
But regardless, it's a product just to stop us from an inevitable thing that we have to fight nature for. Like it's just us like trying to get away from inevitabilities where like the Na'vi are just, but they'd say like, oh, that like Stephen Lang's character is like, oh, that's what this is all about. And then that's about it.
Right.
And I feel like you were, I don't know, like me, like I'm thinking like, oh, well, I guess this must be a commentary on blah, blah, blah. But like I just wish there would have been more like, is there like something like if they could have gone on into like the I don't know, the what's going on at Earth a little bit, or like just the human, like I don't know, just I just thought that there'd be more to that instead of this like one almost throwaway, like you didn't even need to have that, but like since they put it in, I was like, oh cool, like I want to know more, but there wasn't that. And
That's the thing, is that like they really don't focus on,
because it's the same thing with the first movie. They're like, I don't know what this unobtainium does, but it's a lot of money.
Oh, was it like that in the first movie? I mean,
think so.
I want to say like the humans, were kind of in trouble and they needed unobtainium for some reason, but I could be wrong.
I just wish they would go into more of the human stuff. Like, what is going on? Like, it should be like,
they didn't even mention unobtainium in this movie.
Yeah, I don't think they did, but because anyways, sorry. What were you saying?
I mean, I'm not sure I was really saying much, but I think my other complaint with the way this like world building has gone for, I guess, like the Sky People, is that it's like 100+ years in the future, and I mentioned this last night. And they have crazy technology that allows them to travel to other planets and implant memories into avatars that they build, and none of the people seem like they're from the future at all. They're all just like generic military people and goofy scientists, and it's just like there's almost no effort to be made to make it sci-fi in a way.
I mean, I would argue that like there was no effort to make it sci-fi, but I definitely think that like one of the hardest things.
I mean,
that
I'm saying with the Sky People in general, I guess, but yeah.
But I would even like there were science sci-fi like elements to like I think like you can be sci-fi and still look civil like normal, but I will say it's very hard to predict. It's very hard to think what are people going to be wearing.
Sure, but
and I think for a more like contemporary effect on viewers to like dress that way, you relate more to where those characters are, and then you see yourself in them. So it's I know you have an issue with it. I don't have as much of an issue.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair point. I think the only thing that does make them sci-fi or in the future is all the technology that they have.
Yeah, that's pretty much
right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and that's enough, I guess. It definitely helps us relate to them because everyone feels like they could be pulled out of like just today, to be honest.
Yeah, I will say that there was too much bro.
Even from the kid who grew up with the Na'vi,
he was saying bro the most.
Yeah,
and that's why like I was like, he really felt like a white guy with dreads. And I think that's what bothered. Like, I don't know, something about it was really weird.
I think it's because he spent a lot of time with Norm as well, like the human scientist that was with them in the beginning.
When Norm's saying bro a lot?
No, but I don't think he says. But I'm just saying like Norm would be the only other like human on the planet to be like teaching him that kind of language. I guess Jake would be too, but he's not. I don't think he's that kind of English speaker to be saying bro. Plus, he's trying to be a dad, so I doubt he'd be saying bro in that instance either.
So there's two directions we can go in. Mm-hmm. We can talk about some of the trailers.
Yeah.
Or I can talk about Glass Onion because it's coming. It'll be out by the time this podcast is out on Netflix. Mm-hmm. Or we can talk about Titans since I've started to catch up on. I've watched Titans, and I do have thoughts.
I say let's take a small break, and then we should talk about some Titans because that is a conversation we have been needing to have. If obviously you guys aren't aware, but I wouldn't say I'm a huge Titans fan, but I am the only person I know who has watched all of Titans so far. And I like the characters a lot, obviously, but there's a lot of problems with the show, and I know Zack is going to have some comments, and I'm looking forward to hearing them.
And you will hear them after this break.
Yes. Okay, we are back, and I am ready to talk about some Titans.
I'm also ready to talk about some Titans.
So, I guess, for context, there has been 3.5 seasons so far.
Four and a half.
Well, part 2 for season 4 is that would make it 4. So part.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So part 2 is coming out next year, but Zach has seen, I guess, the first 2 seasons plus a little of season 3.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess
if you haven't seen Titans, I don't know how much this will interest you. I will try to make it entertaining. If you haven't seen it, we are going to go into spoilers, and there's not really much we can do about it. So
if
any of this interests you, or if you think it sounds horrible, just maybe we'll have a time mark for when we talk about something else.
I think we should start with season 1.
Okay.
Because it is my favorite season.
Ooh, that's okay. That's a. I can see. All right, I can see why it could be someone's favorite season. I could definitely see why.
Right.
It is not mine.
Well, I mean, you haven't seen the other, all of season 3.
But I know that I like season 2 better.
You like season 2 better? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do actually like season 2 better.
Well, here's the thing. Season 1 for me, I think, really does a great job with the relationship between Dick Grayson and Rachel Roth. I think it's an angle that hasn't really been explored in Titans before, and they give them this basically, cosmic connection where, they have, or I think Rachel has visions of Dick, right?
Yeah.
And I love that it's basically, she's his Robin, right? He is now in the position that Bruce was in, and he is now having to look out after this younger mentor or mentee, I guess. And I think it's done pretty well.
I think the idea is potentially it's a good, all of its good ideas. Mm-hmm. It's executed really cheesily, really heavy cheese.
Uh-huh.
I definitely get what you're saying about him being in the position of Batman in a lot of ways, where she's his Robin,
right?
Though he's doing it a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And it is nice that it's just pretty much the 4 of them. But then you get Dove and Hawk and Jason Todd.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty... Now, all right, do they ever explain why Starfire's memory was wiped? Because that is such a ridiculous thing to just put in for I can't remember why. I don't think they ever said why her mind was wiped.
I think you're right. They don't explain it. I will say that's probably the weak. Well,
I don't know. The ending was pretty weak.
Yeah, I'll say top 3 weakest things in season 1. They just didn't really. I think they clearly had Robin and Raven their story set, and then they were okay, so how the hell do we introduce the other 2 characters? And they do a decent job with Beast Boy. I think that episode is a highlight of season 1. Where
I think it was really good. Even though having a different Niles Calder is very weird for me, but he was a much creepier Niles Calder.
Yeah, he was a much more evil from, I've seen the first 4 episodes of Doom Patrol. And that episode was made before the series came out.
Yeah.
So I think they were planning on maybe having that actor come back at some point, but then, I think Timothy Dalton's a much more high profile actor, and I think it makes sense. But yeah, I think,
and I think I like Niles Calder with Timothy Dalton much better.
Yeah.
It works better with the show, way the show is.
Yeah, the tone of the show is much more different than the tone of that episode.
Well,
because that episode's pretty creepy at points.
It is, but it also has that Doom Patrol vibe that I feel it.
Nice.
I don't do well when I binge, like at remembering things consistently.
Right.
Season 1 wasn't horrible to get through. There were things that I liked.
Here's the thing. I think the villain throughout season 1 was a pretty, like, it wasn't Trigon, but it was like the organization was, I think, a cool, creepy, like grounded villain to have.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think having the Atomic Family as just in there was really cool.
I thought they were done well.
I thought they were executed very well.
Yeah. Very brutal fight scenes with them.
Yeah. I think all of that was very cool. It felt very like Umbrella Academy. I don't know if you've seen.
I haven't seen it. No.
But my biggest problem with season 1, and this bleeds into what?
Oh, it'll be good.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Sorry, I was just checking.
Bleeds into season 2 is...
It's terrible.
The end, I don't care. I know that there was like, we wanted to rewrite the end of season 1 because we weren't happy with it or something.
Well, from what I heard, it was just like when they were cutting together the finale for season 1, it was really just like they were in the editing room and they saw how good that moment was of Dick Grayson being turned by Trigon. And then they were like, yeah, we should leave it cliffhanger right there. And
then they're idiots.
They were super happy with that decision, I think, at the time. I don't know why the hell they did that, because the rest of that finale is like finished within like the first 10, 20 minutes of the first episode of season 2. And it's written really badly.
Really badly. Like, but I swear to God, they were like, we wanted to come up with a different ending for, and that's why they didn't like finish it. And it's like, I can't imagine being like somebody who is watching that show and having to wait like a year for season 2. Also, just to get that as the ending, and also all of a sudden, like they start calling themselves Titans when the word Titans had never been mentioned before.
Yeah, I think that was a clear like addition to season 2, is that they wanted the Titans to like now have existed in this universe, which I think was like threw me off a lot. But I think, you know, it works for this universe that they've written. I think, you know, having, like Jason Todd be like Titans are back is a bit cheesy. Like, why does he?
Don't forget the bitch part, because he said Titans are back, bitch.
Like why would he be a fan of the Titans? I don't know, but
like. I don't
know. Yeah.
And also you build Trigon up as this big threat, and then somehow Rachel is able to just unlock this power within her that he gave her to then vanquish him or whatever.
The thing is that,
and also have some of I know it's like a TV show, but that was bad CG. Like that was just...
I think
you should put all, if you're going to do Trigon, you put almost all of your CGI money, VFX, like into making that. And I know they only had him for the one episode, so it would like.
So why spend the time on him? Right.
It's just.
I think the thing there is that like I said, my favorite part of season 1 is the connection between Dick and Rachel, but they just don't use it at all in the finale. Like he's useless in the finale. He's taken over and then he's just done, and Rachel has to save him. Like the only person who contributes is Beast Boy by turning to a snake, I think, at some point. And even that's not a huge contribution.
Turning into a snake usually is not the best contribution.
Right. So I think season 1 is definitely like limited by its budget, and has a terrible finale.
Horrible finale.
But the pieces
honestly,
that are there,
one of the worst.
Yeah, I would agree with you. But here's what's wild to
mad.
me is that season 2 finale pisses me off more.
So season 2 finale does not piss me off more.
Yeah.
But it's still not good. Like, this show has a really hard time at, like, I will say season 3 opener, very promising.
I think it's a pretty cool opener.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll get there.
But,
I think season 2, it has a cool Deathstroke storyline.
It has the Deathstroke storyline's pretty good.
And that's why it was, I think, necessary to bring the Titans like lore that they had existed beforehand.
Yeah.
It needed to happen. But they introduce so many characters in season 2.
Not as many as I felt like you built it up in my mind to be, but
to me, it's like I was really happy with the start of season 2, and it was like Dick was going to train the young members of Titans. It was going to be like, Robin as the leader, or I guess whatever he was at that point, because he wasn't Nightwing either.
No.
But he was going to lead the Titans, and Jason Todd's Robin and Beast Boy and Raven were going to be the members. And I loved that, like, the training. I loved, like, the introduction of the Titans Tower, even though it wasn't very coolly done. It's just kind of a skyscraper.
Every single time that they would like do a pan shot, a city shot, it would say like Titans Tower, and I'd be like, which
where?
one is it? And I'd be really frustrated. I'd be like, they're all, to be honest, they're all kind of the same height, so I don't really know which one I'm supposed to be. Eventually, I figured out which one it was,
right.
But also I have like logistical issues. Like, that's a whole tower.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. I think they have to have just like a few floors, right? I mean, like, there's
like,
no way.
Do other people use that tower?
I mean, not that I know of. So you get. I mean, here's the thing: the Dick Grayson in this universe relies on Bruce's money a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. So
like, he's so done with Batman, but he's like, but I'll use his money
but
and
I'll use
his resources.
The tower he bought me. Yeah. So
that's it. So that's one of the issues I have with season 2. Bruce Wayne.
Oh yeah, Bruce Wayne is introduced in season 2. Yes,
and he is the weirdest Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
I don't know what they were going for. At times it works, but he's just not Bruce Wayne to me.
Yeah,
at all. He also, like, that actor who I love as Jorah,
right, from
Game of Thrones. That's not an American accent. That is.
I think he does a decent job at it. I don't think it's a bad accent.
It is not an accent at all. I think it's not that belongs. There's moments where I can literally hear he's starting to go into his English accent, and he like stops it short. But it's not American
to me. I
mean, not American.
What I
but
like,
it's not.
What I like from his performance is that he has like the deep voice for it, like
sure.
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
And I think like looking at his jaw and like his facial structure, I believe that like he would look good in like the bat cowl,
Yeah.
So
but he's his personality is even like strange. Like they obviously lean into like he is insane in certain ways. Like he's dealing with issues that he's never like addressed. But he's like this. He's kind of wacky too, and it was really jarring. And I never believed that he was Bruce Wayne.
Interesting.
Like I never thought he was Batman.
It's definitely an unpopular opinion, but I'm a fan of his Bruce. But I think, going back to the characters that were introduced in season 2, I was happy with like the 4 of them as Titans. And then obviously like Corey was going to come back at some point and rejoin them. I know she went off to like do something. I can't remember exactly what, but, and then, you had Hawk and Dove join the Titans, and then you had, Deathstroke's daughter Rose join the Titans.
Yeah.
And then you introduce Superboy out of nowhere. And then
he was teased in the post credits, I guess, of the season 1 finale.
Oh, was he? I don't even remember that. That's
yeah.
funny.
Well, I found that out afterwards.
Okay.
Because I skipped through.
Oh, you did?
But usually if there's a post credit, but I was maybe I was so mad. I was like, that's it. I need to watch the second one.
Yeah. I mean, and I really like the introduction of Superboy because there's a lot of, I think, good plot points and really done special effects for him.
Yeah, he's a really solid character.
And I think he's a perfect casting, honestly. I love Josh Orpin as him. But yeah, so you introduce those new characters. You also introduce Wonder Girl, who rejoins the Titans as well.
Well, she was in the first season too.
Yeah, but Hawk and Dove and her legitimately rejoin the Titans in season 2.
Yeah.
And then you also add Rose, you add Superboy, you add Crypto. And
I'm okay with that one.
And at that point you have, the 4 original Titans, and you have Jason Todd as well. So what you have 9, 10 Titans in that season? And season 3 doesn't go down really at all. I mean, I don't know how far in season 3 you've gotten. Do you remember the episode you left off on, or
Hank died?
Okay. So I guess at that point, that Hawk and Dove are basically gone. I'll let you, I don't know if you'll care about that spoiler, but they have been written off of Titans at that point, which needed to happen because I think their season 2 arc was very all over the place.
Which is strange because I think that as characters, the idea of I don't know if Hawk and Dove were something that comic readers are yeah, they got Hawk and Dove, but they're really not great.
I know they're somewhat of an OG member for the Titans, but they just weren't done very well.
I mean, yeah.
And as much as actor,
the thing is that I like the characters.
Interesting.
I like their dynamic.
Yeah.
I just think as superheroes, you really want to. I know that's saying fucking Batman is a guy dressed up as a bat, but there's something just strange about being called Hawk and Dove.
Yeah.
I mean, Dove, they both kick ass, but I don't know. Anyways.
By the way, I will say
my least favorite character shows up in season 2.
You have seen Hank's ending, but I will say technically Hawk and Dove's storyline is not finished yet in season 3. I'll give you that little hint.
Oh god damn. I think does it have anything to do with the Lazarus pits? With Lazarus?
I'll say no. It doesn't. Even though that it does exist in this season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jar Jar Binks.
What?
Who else? The boy, the little kid from Black Adam.
Oh, you're saying characters you hate.
The worst character. Some of the worst characters to ever grace
boy.
the screen.
Okay, so which one is it in Titans?
Aqualad.
Oh, right. Okay.
Is just unbearable.
He's pretty unmemorable for me. So you'll have to remind me what's so bad about Aqualad. Even though his outfit is bad and yeah.
But I can live with a bad outfit.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, just the acting.
Yeah.
The acting was so bad.
That's fair.
It was angsty. I mean, I like angsty, but it was bad angsty. And he looked like he was this. I don't know. I don't want to get too hung up on what he looked like because that's unfair. But it was just the performance. I don't know how to say it. He was bad.
Right.
He was cheesy. He was trying so hard to get Wonder Girl, and he's at the when he gets killed, before he gets shot, he's maybe your destiny is with me, and then he starts walking away, and I'm How bold of you to think that like her destiny's tied up with you, and obviously it is. You like, it's He was just such a cringy character.
Mm-hmm.
He was a cringy character.
I think you're right.
It was really hard to get through that episode.
I'm glad, that he only existed in the backstory episodes. Spoiler alert, we're not going to see him again. So that's great. But I think we need to talk about this finale in season 2 because it has probably the worst character death I've ever seen.
It's I think it might be the worst character death I've ever seen too.
It's like, and what's so funny is that the writers, new writers come on for season 3, and there's a line where they acknowledge how bad that ending is, which is great. But yeah, like clearly they just wanted the character death, and they were like, yeah, let's like wind the cast down and just shock the hell out of Wonder Girl by electrocuting Pole, and that's it. Even though I'm pretty sure in this universe that like they're both, like her and Wonder Woman are like kind of related to Zeus, so that really makes no sense. It's a mess.
Yeah, I mean, like you had messaged me. And you're like, let me know when you see the end of season 2 because oh boy. And I was watching it, and it starts off like there's the Deathstroke fight in the beginning, and that was, first of all, very weird that like his son could just like be in him for so long and like not get out for some reason.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, very weird.
But like, I was like, really? He's going to die that quickly? And like at the beginning of the episode. And I'm like, all right, well, that's not too bad.
I mean, I really liked the introduction of like him as Nightwing. I think that was good. And then the Deathstroke fight was good. But again,
like, you should, like, he goes to the tailor and he's like, yeah, Bruce, Mr. Wayne thought you'd come here and he had this suit picked out for you. And it's like, and it was like really annoying because like this, the bird that the prisoner was drawing that he would pray to, like the god was the Nightwing symbol in the prison he was at.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
But it shows up on his suit and you're just like, I thought you were supposed to be your own person.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that was frustrating, but it was cool to see him as Nightwing. And then, it was kind of dumb that like after like Beast Boys killed all these people and like Superboys like attacked these police officers that at the end of this season, like they're like, oh, we're like, but anyways, so Beast Boy's killing all these people. They're trying
because he's like hypnotized or whatever.
Yeah, Superboy's like gonna fuck shit up, and then the Titans are trying to stop him. And I'm like, oh, and they eventually do, and I'm like, none of this is like too bad. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and there was no like emotional arc. There was nothing built up that like Donna Summers needed to like do a heroic thing, and like it was just
she was just like it's collapsing and people need to be saved. Oh no.
And like and she just gets electrocuted.
Yep. That's it. And then for some reason Raven's like, I'm gonna try and save her. I gotta go back to the Mascara.
And also I've like if we're obviously this show is messy to say the least, but like I know that men aren't allowed in Themyscira, but are all women allowed? Like, or is it just Themyscirans?
So. I mean, I know like it wasn't written in all like those Wonder Woman comics that you couldn't return to the Themyscira. But yeah, well, I mean, in Wonder Woman, the first movie, Steve gets there. I mean,
but he wasn't like brought in by Amazonians.
Yeah, I guess they, for some reason, were like, yeah, we know who Raven is, and you can come try and save her. I don't know.
Like, does nobody think she's insane?
Yeah,
like nobody
for sure.
ever like was like, I don't know.
I think she's dead.
Yeah, I think, yeah. If you want to go do that, yeah, bring our dead friend back.
Yeah. So as you've seen so far in season 3, she's not there because she is trying to save her.
And so season 3 starts off very promisingly.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that's dropped on you. Basically, and we'll wrap up Titan soon. But yeah, like the Joker kills Jason Todd.
And I was really surprised at how brutal.
Oh, yeah, how brutal he kills him.
Like, I was really surprised. Like, those swings and the sounds that they did, like, that was actually really well, because that really I would creepy. Like to see what that Joker would have been like, because that was actually terrifying.
For sure.
Too bad Batman
kills him in the same episode, right?
In the same episode.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, because both so I guess I should say Barbara Gordon is also introduced this season. And I really love this version of Barbara. I think she's done really well in the season.
I think she's done really well too.
But they both kind of go into Bruce and are like, you caused this. Like, you have manipulated all of us, and you need to answer for it. And he's like, he basically snaps and goes out and kills the Joker and is like, hey, Dick, this is your city now. I'm done. And so Titans kind of inherit the mess that Bruce has left Gotham in. Even though it's not, I guess, as big of a mess right now as it will be this season. It's
oh God, I don't even want to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying like the writing there's some messy parts to the season for sure. But yeah, like obviously plots unfold and whatnot. So you'll see, the villain plot behind the story soon.
I know that like Scarecrow and Red Hood are
the main villains, right?
And they're slightly working in tandem, or something's going on.
Yeah, it'll be revealed. Yeah.
This is not the actor's fault, because they can't help their height. But this is a small nitpick, but like it's two things. Because he has the attitude for it.
Oh yeah.
But that is a very short Red Hood. And that's not to say that like height, because it's like whatever. And so it's like a small thing, but it's still like a thing that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
But that mask is bad.
It could be better for sure. Yeah. It like almost any other Red Hood mask is better. I'll say that.
That was a bad mask. Bad mask.
But I think it works enough for the season. I think
they didn't really try to. I don't really feel like they did a great job of like trying to hide who that was either.
Well, I mean,
and also, how did he get so good at guns?
Yeah, that's a good question. Who knows? I don't know. You could say as his life as like a street thug before Bruce met him, but
I'm eye rolling.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It was. I think it's one of those things that like I'm just like, okay, I accept that this is, because I feel like this whole show is like a bunch of me having to be like,
oh yeah, this is
referring to like my comic book,
right?
Somewhat of my knowledge of Batman characters and whatever, and being like, okay, I know what they're trying to get to, so I give like whatever. Let's see how. Like, to be honest, watching Titans has just been. I want to get to the new season because I think it could be really good, and Ian has had it on his screen, like has had it as his phone screensaver
for a long time,
and I don't know how that's possible.
Well, here's the thing. I think for me,
and I'm a fan of Teen Titans.
I'm a huge fan of Teen Titans. I'm a huge fan of this cast that they have, and I see the potential that's there for this group. And season 3 leaves off in a great place where, this isn't spoilers. I mean, not huge spoilers, but they condensed the cast by quite a bit, and it's finally like, oh, we can have like an actual Titan story where we're not focusing on 12 different Titans. It's finally in like the spot it should be, and I don't think season 4 has, spoiler alert, it hasn't been great.
Oh no, that's not good. Because I was really hoping that'd be really good.
I think for me, like this is like the one thing I'll say about it. I wish we were back in San Francisco. I wish we were back at the tower, because they are not there yet still, and we hadn't seen it since season 2, and it would have been nice. Maybe we'll see it at the end of the season. But the location that they're at, I'm already tired of. I'll say that.
I know it's Bloodhaven and Metropolis.
Yeah, Metropolis and Star Labs are the main, like, for the first half of the season is where it's at pretty much. Yeah, and I'm ready for a new location already. But that's all I'll say about season 4. I think we have a lot to talk about with the end of season 3 when you get to it.
Yeah, hopefully I'll, with the holidays and everything, I'll maybe in 2 weeks we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
On your own time, no rush.
But that's
Titans for you.
That's Titans. It's not a great show. I don't know why you have it as your screensaver.
It's not now.
I know
it's our podcast now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Do you have any topics you want to get on? You want to talk about before?
I think real quick, I'm real excited for this Indiana Jones trailer and movie that has been announced, Dial of Destiny. I think the trailer looks amazing.
I know I wrote down some thoughts about it. So I also think it looks great.
Yeah.
At first, I was kind of iffy, and some people had mentioned like they weren't a fan of the CGI, and
I think it's done really well, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's done really well.
I guess the big rumor, that people aren't happy, that this movie could potentially deal with some time travel.
I think it's most definitely dealing with time travel,
which is rough. I definitely don't like that. And from what I've heard is that maybe at some points of this movie that they plan for the goddaughter character to kind of replace Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones in time. So like basically she would be back in time, where those movies took place, which I think is very odd.
So
if that is the case,
they think that Phoebe Waller-Bridger's character
replaces Indiana Jones basically
for like future movies,
right? And it would be set like back in the 30s, I think.
I think that's I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
and if they do, then Kathleen Kennedy's like last movie that she's a part of, because I think it's been announced, pretty close to announced, that she's gone after.
Is that the case?
I think, yeah. There's been some reports that she's but
yeah,
I really hope not, and I think maybe the deep fake CGI that's been done on Harrison is.
I hope it's just some flashback scenes. I really do. I don't want time travel in an Indiana Jones movie. Like it's not necessary.
I think it'll be flashbacks for sure, but I think there's gonna be time travel
now,
and I don't really think that that's such a weird thing.
I mean, I get that there has been magic in the Indiana Jones movies.
Whoa.
There has. I was watch Temple of Doom.
It's funny because I literally wrote down, it says, Indy says he doesn't believe in magic in the trailer. He says, I don't believe in magic.
I literally watched Temple of Doom like last week, and like there's straight magic in it. Even like the temple chief leader is like, yeah, you seen some magic. You know, it was like.
But he says, because I was saying like all the stuff that you were talking about, like every single movie, actually, like every single movie, there's
magic.
But he says, though he does say it's stuff he can't explain, and it's how hard you believe it.
Oh, okay, all right.
So that's like a very scientific way to look at magic.
He's a professor,
and yeah.
My thing is that
I don't love the title.
Yeah, sure. It's not a great one. It's probably the weakest of the 5.
Yeah, because even though Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is like not great, it's awesome title.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even the concept I think is good. It's just it was executed terribly.
Yeah, but
with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, my big thing with making a 5th movie is that the 4th one had too many big things happen in it to just like never acknowledge it. Even as bad as it was, like basically
like him being married,
him getting married at the end, him having a canon son.
Yeah.
Him, you know, like everyone, not everyone, but you know, everyone who was in that scene, seeing a UFO kind of like exist and then go up in the sky and leave, and an alien come out of it, and I mean, so many big things happened, and so I'm glad James Mangold, the director of this current movie, came out and was like, yeah, Shia LaBeouf won't be in it, but we're gonna address like that character and what has happened to him, or like, you know, what's going on with him since Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And I think
that's good.
I'm glad about that, because yeah, you can't just skip the 4th movie, you know, even if it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be, if at the very least, it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah. But
I'm really hoping it's like good, like very good.
I hope it's a very solid action adventure movie.
So one last thing, Mads Mikkelsen's character is apparently like a Nazi scientist based off of an actual Nazi scientist that was in NASA, and he's also in the show From All Mankind that I was watching. And he's supposedly wants to rewrite the wrongs that he's done, and that's his character. So he wants to go back and, you know, now
so that is a very hinting time travel plot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is he going back to be a good Nazi, or not make sure Nazi things don't happen, or does he go back because he wants to bring back the Third Reich? And he's not actually a very nice guy.
I mean, I feel like it has to be the latter, right?
There's no good Nazi.
Well, it's just like, why would you stop somebody from like going back in time and making like the Nazis good guys? I mean, isn't that like a benefit?
Like stop things that he did as a Nazi scientist.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, theoretically, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, righting his own wrongs, but I guess if you were saying like going back and like rewriting the Nazi regime, I mean, like you could make them, you know, like not do any of the bad stuff. Theoretically, right? I mean, they did a lot of, you know, bad stuff, obviously. But.
Yeah, I think he's Mads Mikkelsen. I mean, I don't really think there might be good. I don't know. He's a Nazi, but I think he's probably a villain. I think he's going back to like restart the Nazi, you know, make sure the Nazis win pretty much. So that's my theory.
Sure. I think that makes sense.
Well, we are getting close to
wrapping up here.
To wrapping up, but
you have some.
I do want to mention I was able to see Glass Onion in theaters. But by the time this podcast comes out, it should be out on Netflix.
Yeah, it'll
be very close to it coming out. So just some quick thoughts. Ryan Johnson directed it. He wrote it.
Great director.
Great director. I actually have come around on some things for The Last Jedi. So, but
big fan of that movie over here.
I just a few things. Daniel Craig is just great as Benoit Blanc.
He was great in the first one.
Yeah. I mean, he's so good. And then this is like, I'm like, don't know if I like it more than the first one because I might.
Okay. Wow. That's nice. I'm glad to hear that.
Like the plot, like with some murder mysteries, you like don't find out things till like later on. Mm-hmm. And just like the first one, this one, like, it's really frustrating because I knew, like, people had told me, like, it's in front of you the whole time. Like, everything's there.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like eagle-eyed. I'm like looking out for it. And then like, you just like, it's just so insane how like, you get to the whole movie and like, sorry, I don't know why that went off, but you get to the end of the movie and you're like, how did I not pick up on that?
Wow. Okay.
And it's like,
I'm excited.
Mind is just like, you're just like, oh my God. You might pick up on it better than I, but I was like, holy shit. That's like, it was right there. Like the whole, like I was literally like, it was right there. And it's just really entertaining. Let's see, what else did I write? The cast ensembles, like they're just a great ensemble cast. But Janelle Monáe, very good. Kate Hudson, Ed Norton. Those are the three that like, besides Daniel Craig, but those are the three that were like really, really good.
I know there were like, I don't know if you remember at the time, Kaylee Kiyoko was like very upset about missing out on that role to Kate Hudson.
Oh, she would be great in that role too.
I was going to ask,
either
one.
Yeah, I think they both like give off the same, they would give off like the same energy. But great movie. Definitely should check it out.
Should be out the day this podcast comes out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's might be better than the first one.
Wow. Yeah. I'm very excited at that point.
And then I don't know if you have anything else you want to say, or I'll just go into like, I thought it would be, besides like movie commentary stuff, like I love music, so I just wanted to like have like a playlist that will probably link to like the podcast on Spotify or Apple Music.
Yeah, I also want to say that besides like the like the stuff from this past week that we're talking about and like what's upcoming this week, we also just kind of like want to talk about the stuff that we're into at the time. Yeah. And this is like the perfect kind of the stuff that we like to discuss.
Yeah. So I'm just going to do like 5 probably a week, or like if I come up with any, like I try to tie them in. But first one's going to be Lovely Day by Bill Withers, because it was
great song
on it was on Titans season 2 during the Superboy episode.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
So I tried to tie it in a little bit.
Nice.
Great song. Christmas is coming up. So Last Christmas rendition by Remy Wolf, which is Last Christmas, but it's bossa nova.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've heard that.
In the Meantime by Space Hog, because it's in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer. And I was like, I know that song, but I didn't really remember it.
Yeah, I
and
know
that song gives me like chills.
That trailer gives me chills, man.
I like want to cry when Quill's like yelling.
I got emotional the last time I saw the trailer. Like when we saw it in the theater, I was like, holy crap, man.
I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas Time is Here by the Old 97s from the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, because the line, Mrs. Claus, she works the pole.
I will say, I think...
God bless.
That's a great song for that special. I almost prefer the Kevin Bacon one.
I know, that one's really good too. Yeah. Like at first I was like, that's kind of cheesy. But then like, that's like the best like original Christmas song I think I've heard in years.
Yeah, for sure. Both of them I think are great original Christmas songs.
Yeah. And then lastly, Big Time Spender, 2,
The sequel.
which is like a piano sample, like hip hop song that's all about buying collectibles and Funko Pops.
Nice.
And hanging with your boys, and
sounds like a good
there's
vibe.
a Lego music video that goes along with it. So
solid.
Yeah. So that's pretty much that's my list. I'm not really watching anything current. I watched a bunch of the Grand Tour.
Oh yeah.
While I was sick.
How's that been?
Funny. I got to show you this one.
Is it very
episode.
similar vibes to
Top Gear?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It's like the same show.
Yeah, I know you guys were, way more into that than I was, but it's still a very good show. Yeah.
It's arguably funnier.
Nice. Probably because it's like they're more in control of it, I'm assuming.
I guess so, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyways, do you have anything that you're watching?
I had been watching Breaking Bad and then Better Call Saul for quite a long time. I'm still not caught up with Better Call Saul. I've seen the first 4 seasons. And, definitely one of my favorite shows at this point.
Really?
I think it like both of those shows, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, do like just great storytelling at points. Like, and I didn't think I could love some characters just as much as I did in like the Breaking Bad show. Like, I think the character of Kim is one of the strongest like written characters I've ever seen.
Is she the other lawyer that he's okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's great. She has like one of the best storylines of the show in season 3. I think the character of Nacho throughout the whole show is
I don't even know who that is.
Nacho Varga, the Salamanca kind of, employee, I guess you would say.
Huh. Yeah.
He's written really well. He has just a great arc over the whole show so far. And yeah, I think it's a great lawyer show that like kind of goes out of bounds of like normal lawyer shit, and it's really well done.
So
I'm
like
so excited. Not like She-Hulk.
Yeah, I hope not.
Because they can't write a freaking courtroom scene in She-Hulk.
Yeah,
but
they got pretty close on the Daredevil episode.
Did they? That's good.
You never saw it?
I never. Yeah, I've watched the ending of She-Hulk.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You're not missing much.
I know.
Actually, you are missing a lot, but
I know what happens though.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, I think that's about it. I'm not watching another technical show, but like I am very much like watching a ton of Critical Role stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so I'm like at episode 30 of their campaign 3.
Whoa! How long are those episodes?
They're 3 to 4 hours each.
Whoa!
Yeah. So
I couldn't even get through one.
Yeah, it helps that they're in podcasts because I do listen to like podcasts a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, like you were saying with like great murder mystery stuff and it being like right in front of you the whole time, Campaign 3 has like some of that in it, and it's like it's easily some of the best storytelling I've ever seen.
So the Dungeon Master like did a really good job.
Yeah, basically what I'm referencing is that they have a guest actor come in campaign 3 like midway through, and I don't know if you care about spoilers or not, but she
I don't
basically
know, you're pretty deep in.
Yeah, she basically doesn't represent herself truthfully to the group, and she's kind of working against the group's interests while being very secretive about it. And so basically she's dropping hints a lot the entire time, but like most of the group just doesn't catch on to it because, she is a guest actor and she, has a very well done personality that makes you unsuspicious of the character. And yeah, I think, if anybody's, not that I'm, one to be promoting other podcasts that are like a ton big. Not that I'm saying promoting, but like not that they need the promotion.
Right.
But like if you want to watch Critical Role, I highly suggest it. It's very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've watched like one episode of one campaign on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it was good.
Yeah. I mean, they're a great group to watch. Yeah. But that's about it.
So that's it. That's all. That's all you got. Okay. All right. Well,
I mean, if you want to close it out.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll be back next week.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a better, I guess, understanding of, what we want to do with the podcast fully. I know this was definitely a long running one, and we don't plan to have them super long running in the future. So yeah, I think we'll just, see how this one turns out and go from there.
Yeah. And, I think we'll have all the links to social media probably in the description or
we're planning on, being on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. So yeah, check us out at any of those locations at LastWeekThisWeekPod, most likely.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably have our Instagram handles if you want to follow us.
I think what the plan is that we're going to be releasing these on Fridays. So this should release Friday, December 23rd. And I hope you all thoroughly enjoyed our very long conversation.
Our first one, yeah.
Yeah, I know I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so.
actually, I think it went pretty well, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think, time flew, honestly.
Yeah, I really didn't think that would happen, but that's cool.
Yeah, very cool.
All right. Well, we thank you for listening. If anyone's listening, this is our first one.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for making it 2 hours or however long this podcast in. That's quite the investment, and we appreciate you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate it very much. All right. Well, until next time.
Bye.